At the beginning of the anime, we meet a girl named Mijua, as she is falling off a cliff. When she wakes up, she finds herself in an open field and she tries to remember what happened. She remembers being pushed off the cliff, and we also see that she lost her parents and brother in an accident. She thinks she might have died, but thinking about what her otaku brother would say, she deduces she can't be dead, because she can feel hunger and pain, so she must be in another world. There is nothing around her and she walks for days, until she eventually comes across a girl named Colette. She gets taken in by the girl, but she speaks a different language that she doesn't understand. Despite this, she manages to introduce herself, and Colette is overjoyed to learn her name. The next morning, Mijua wakes up completely healed. She looks around and finds this world is less advanced. Colette worries about her, but she shows off how she is already all better. She goes with Colette to help her with foraging, and as they gather the plants, she thinks that this must be how her brother felt to have a little sister, wanting to protect her no matter what. There are wolves that appear and Mijua helps to Colette. She leads the wolves away but she trips, and as the wolf lunges at her she suddenly teleports, and ends up back in her house in Japan. Seeing the rock, she realizes it wasn't a dream and quickly grabs some weapons, including her brother's slingshot and pocket knife. She thinks about why she should go back, but thinking about Colette she heads back. Using the slingshot she gets their attention, and using pepper and spices she blinds the wolf, and finishes it off with her knife. The other wolves run off but Mijua also faints. Mijua appears floating in a strange place and meets a lucky cat statue. It explains it is borrowing this form to talk to her, but says it is an advanced life form made of pure energy that goes around looking for entertainment. And it seems Mitsuo managed to take some of his power as she was falling off the cliff. The cat decides to let her keep the powers, explaining that she now has the ability to travel between worlds, as long as she can imagine the exact destination, and is able to heal at an accelerated rate. Seeing her as his entertainment, he asks if there is anything else that she would want, and Mijua asks for the ability to understand different languages, which the cat grants and then leaves. When Mijua wakes up she is back at Colette's house, and she is now able to understand her. She thanks Colette for patching her up, and Colette is surprised to hear her talking, and Mitsuo pretends like she recovered her memory. Colette's father thanks her for protecting his daughter, and pays her some gold for taking out the wolf. Thinking about her situation, she wonders how her brother would use her ability. Although she was left an inheritance by her parents, it's not really enough. Thinking about how this world is less developed, she thinks about making money by bringing other goods from Earth, and selling the gold that she would make. Thinking her ability may disappear at any time, she decides she needs to make enough money, so she can retire in both worlds. She decides she would need 1 billion yen, or $10 million to live comfortably, so she would need to save 2 billion yen to retire in both worlds. She starts thinking about the items she could sell, like matches and lighters, and even air fresheners for the toilets. As she talks with some men from the village, she learns about the lord of the area and about the king. She decides that she will need to head to the capital, but Khaled overhears her conversation and doesn't want her to leave. Mitsuo says that she has friends waiting for her in the capital, and promises to come back and visit. The next morning, she heads off in a carriage to the lord's town, planning to gain the lord's support before moving on to the royal capital. Mitsuo suddenly realizes that she stinks, having not showered since she got here. She asks the driver to drop her off, and when nobody is around she teleports back to her house. After having her shower, she goes around and converts all our assets to cash. She does some research online, and her language ability helps her understand foreign sites. She looks up private security companies, and finds a company called Wolf's Fang. Using Google Maps to find her destination, she is able to teleport to the compound in South America. She pays off the guard, and is able to meet with the company leader. She lets him check out the gold from the other world, and he appraises it to be worth $200. So she works out that she would need to save 80,000 gold to achieve her goal. They come to a deal, where she buys some guns and training and shooting for self-defense. She does more research about medieval societies to decide what products to sell. In preparation for going back, she picks up some jewelry, and even orders a custom outfit. With all her preparations complete, she head back into the other world. She arrives at the lord's residence, but the guards turn her away because she has no appointment. There is suddenly a carriage that passes by, and she learns that the people inside were the lord's sons. Mitsuo comes out with a plan, teleporting ahead of the carriage and waiting. As the carriage approaches, she lights some firecrackers, causing the horses to go wild, and she pretends to have been hit by the carriage. The boys worry about her and they take her in. As she pretends to wake up, she meets the Lord Klaus. He apologizes to her, and she is glad to see they seem to be quite nice. Later on, Mitsuha introduces herself as a noble from the distant country of Japan. Seeing her fine outfit, Claus finds this to be believable. Mijua explains she was attacked by a wild beast, and separated from her companions, but she was saved by people of this town. So she came to offer her thanks. She gifts him with a Swiss Army knife, which instantly has them intrigued. Klaus asks her about her plans, and Mijua says that she is headed for the capital. But Klaus says it's getting late and tells her to ride the carriage in the morning. But Mitsuha says she has no money. Klaus finds this strange, because the knife she gave him would have been worth 12 gold. He tells her to stay the night, and he finds her identity to be strange. Back in her room, Mijua puts on her dress and she joins the family for dinner. Klaus introduces the rest of the family. His wife Iris, their sons, Alexis and Theo, and their daughter Beatrice. As she eats the food, she is disappointed at the quality, even though they are nobles, but she eats it to be polite. After the meal, Klaus questions who she really is. Mitsuha tells a story of how she fled her country, to avoid a succession dispute after her parents passed away, so she plans to make a new start in this country. Klaus is touched by the story, and Mijua says she would sell her necklace for some gold, but Iris is suddenly alarmed, revealing that pearls are so rare, it should be impossible to have a full necklace of them. Mijua offers to give it to her, shocking her further, and Klaus wonders about the value of the necklace. Iris reveals it should be a national treasure, saying there is no amount of gold that could buy it. Klaus suggests putting it up for auction, but Iris also rejects the idea, saying if people found out about it people would kill for it. Mijua had planned on trading the necklace to gain the Lord's support and funding. She wonders if they could just take the necklace apart, causing Iris to lose it at the suggestion. Mijua wonders what she can do for money, and insists on giving the necklace to Iris. Klaus worries about the value, but Mitsuha tells them she only wants enough gold so she can start up her own store, telling them a sob story that Iris reminds her of her own mother, and they accept the proposal. After this, Theo says that her Swiss knife was amazing, and wonders if she has any other things to sell. Mitsuha takes out a foldable knife, and tells him she could sell it for 1 gold, which Theo instantly agrees to. Considering the value of gold, she is able to sell it for more than 10 times what she paid for it. Beatrice wonders what kind of shop she would open, and Mijua tells her she would sell some cosmetics and accessories for women, but also thinks she might try selling some food. Klaus warns her that the yields on crops have been dropping, and Mitsuha surprises him with her knowledge of farming from her brother, saying crops need to be rotated or else the soil becomes too thin. Mitsuha starts talking about coming up with new inventions to make money, having a good time, and even confuses them with her own parents. She starts tearing up, thinking about her family, and Klaus comforts her. Despite the tears, Mijua sets off the next day with the money and support from the Lord Klaus. She has servants to accompany her and heads off for the royal capital, excited about her journey ahead. But that's it for the part 1, part 2 coming soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.